Alright, Pokemon players, we are back with round 2. We see it is Carl Shu going first. Carl's going to go ahead and start off with attaching a double colorless to his Zorua and going ahead and playing Professor Sycamore. We see that it is going to be a Yveltal Glade versus what I believe is going to be Vespiquen Vileplume. It kind of looks like Chris might have a fire Pokemon in his hand, so I'm not 100%. We see Carl go ahead and play a Yveltal and a Zorua on the bench, and we see he's also, I believe, battle compressoring right now. He does have the battle compressor there on the field. He's going to go ahead and get rid of a Gallade. Second battle compressor, and he's trying to decide here on what his second card is. He's going to go ahead and get rid of a target whistle. He is going to then set up for 3. Like I said, Chris's hand looks like it's a fire Pokemon. It might actually be a fighting Pokemon. I am not too sure on what it is. Alright, we see Carl setting up again. He's going to attach a float stone to the Zorua. He's going to go ahead and retreat and send up the Yveltal. And he's then going to pass his turn at this point. He's already played a supporter. There he goes. He goes ahead and pass. I don't feel like I like that Carl has 2 Shaman on the bench. That is not good for him in this situation here. We see that Chris is going to play a Trainer's Mail, and he's going to get a Battle Compressor, and he's going to go ahead and play a Battle Compressor from that. He actually is playing Jolteon Vileplume, so we see that this looks like he's probably playing some kind of... I also seen Vespiquen in there, so he's actually... The Jolteon must just be a tech here for this matchup. I believe that Jolteon is also on his bench. Or he might be battle compressoring it. I'm not 100% sure where it came from. He's actually just going to go ahead and discard it. Okay, he was going to battle compressor it. He's going to battle compressor the Jolteon, a Jirachi, and an unknown. So he is playing... Ooh, that was rough. Is playing also a Regirock, so that was a fighting Pokemon, not... So he's playing it some type of toolbox variant. Pretty much he's playing Vespiquen Vileplume with some techs in there to go against, to better his matchups against other decks. So Carl's going to start off with a Trainer's Mail. He's trying to decide here what he has on his discard pile. Looks like he's going to take a VS Secret. Alright, we see Carl played a Zorua on the bench. He also was able to evolve his Bencher from last turn into a Zorak. He's going to go ahead and play that VS Seeker. And he's actually going to look to Juniper this game, or this turn. Alright guys, sorry about that. We are back. We have the start of Carl's turn. He has a pretty big lead here. Seems he is searching through his discard pile. He's checking to see what Pokemon he has in his discard pile here. He might be looking to Super Rod or put something back. He might just be checking resources. He is also, what he's actually doing, he is counting how many Pokemon he has in his discard pile because he is looking to use Zoroark Break to copy the Vespiquen attack. So he's actually going to go ahead and stand in there with the Zoroark Break. I'm not sure how many he counted in his discard pile, but and again, we see he's counting. He's looking at his hand here. He's trying to decide. He must be able to get the knockout. He wouldn't have promoted the Zoroark Break. He did have enough Pokemon in his discard pile to get the knockout here. So, and Carl did count how many cards he had left. He's not going to look. He got rid of 2 energy off of that one. So we see that Carl does have the Lysander in his hand. And he uses... Well, I'm gonna just assume that he would use the... He only had enough damage to do 40, so I'm not sure exactly what happened there at that point. But I'm going to assume that Carl was able to take the knockout. I'm not sure what he had on his bench, but... Unless Bunnelby's second attack did more damage than the 50? I believe Bunnelby actually has 60 points, so I'm not too sure what happened in that situation. So we will find out. We'll be right back. Alright, guys, we're going to go ahead and jump into game 2. We see that Chris is going to opt into going first here. He's going to start with the trainer's mail. Started with a Combi. See, Carl also started with 2 Yveltal, 1 of the Fright Knight and 1 of the Oblivion Wing. Chris is going to go ahead and take that Forest of Giant Plants. We see Chris go ahead and place that Regirock on the bench again. He's going to attach a double colorless, and he's going to go ahead and pass to Carl. Carl is going to start off with a Battle Compressor. It didn't look like he was able to get rid of all the cards in his hand to be able to get a Glade out this turn, but we will see. I only got a quick little peek there, so He's going to go ahead and discard a Maxie's, a Gallade, and a Sycamore. We see him. He actually, if he chooses to set up for none, well, he has to have the VS Seeker in his hand, but he's going to go ahead and Ultra Ball in. He's going to probably go ahead and set up for 6 and see where his hand takes him. So he probably won't be able to get the Glade out this turn, but you never know. He has the opportunity to be able to get 2 Ultra Balls. There's one. I do not think that he got it. I believe he got another supporter of his last cards. He has too many Pokemon in his hand as well. So we actually see, I do not even believe Carl is playing a Yveltal EX. He might even just be playing a more Zoroark Yveltal with friends to be able to exchange prize cards, 1 for possibly 2, which is actually a pretty good strategy here. Most people load up their bench and things like that. So I believe Carl chose not to take a Pokemon and is going to Sycamore for 7. So he has a lot of options here. He's going to go ahead and Battle Compressor. At this point, he is going to look to just get rid of stuff that he does not need. He's choosing to get rid of that Target Whistle again. And a Dark Energy to be able to Oblivion Wing onto one of his bench Pokemon. So I'm not sure if he had a Dark Energy in his hand to be able to Oblivion Wing, but he is actually... He hits a Fighting Fury Belt, or he did not get it. He took the Floatstone. If he was able to do just a little bit more damage, he was going to be able to take a turn 1 Oblivion Wing knockout on that Combee, but he might not even play the things that he needs to. But he's going to go ahead and play his VS Seekers. He wants to make sure to get as many trainers out of his deck before he gets item locked. He's going to go ahead and play. Okay, he played 2 VS Seekers, taking a Hex and a Sycamore. He did have the energy, so he is going to get to Oblivion Wing, and he's going to go ahead and attach a Dark Energy to that Fright Knight Yveltal. Only doing 30 damage, but still getting what he needs done. We see Chris coming in with an AZ, picking up the damage that Carla just put into play. Chris's hand, he's got the Combee, he has the Lightning Energy in his hand. So he didn't have a fighting. He's going to go ahead and just hit him for 10. His hand is not looking good. He's got the Forest of Giant Plants. Looked like a DCE maybe? I'm not too sure, but it's not looking that great. We see Carl's going to go ahead and stand in with his Zorg and send out that Fright Knight Yveltal. He's going to choose to Giovanni to draw the cards, so he is going to be doing the 60 spread, 60 to the active and 60 to a bench EX, which Chris does not have yet. He does play the Muscle Band, so that he could have got that turn 1 knockout. He must have drawn it off of the Giovanni, so he's going to go ahead and knock out that active Jirachi. Chris did get a, nice. He did get into exactly what he was looking for. Got an unknown to be able to draw 1 and drew into a Sycamore, so he's right back into it. We see that he definitely has an Oddish and a Vileplume in his hand. So whether or not he does have the Gloom. So one thing that's very interesting, some of the didn't get the energy to attach to attack though. Oh, his hand looks actually rough. It looks like that there's a, well, that looks that looks like a fighting energy, so it's either a fighting or a fairy energy. I'm not too sure, but it is so unfortunate for Chris. Some of the different variants between the Vespiquen Vileplume decks are Some are trainer heavy and some are not. The ones that are trainer heavy want to get through as many of the trainers in their deck, and by trainers I mean items, before they lock themselves out of being able to play them. While the other variants are just focused on getting the Vileplume out early to try to stop their opponent. We see Carl's going to go ahead and start his turn with an Ultra Ball. He's going to evolve into a Zoroark. So he now has 2 Zoroarks in play. The Fright Knight, Yveltal active to be able to spread a lot of damage. Currently with, did he just VS Seeker?
He started his turn with a Hex.
So did he just VS Seeker?
Yes.
Oh, okay, because he Hex Maniac'd. Okay. So we see he must have had the fighting energy and he just opted not. Oh, he touched the DCE the turn before, so that's why that was unfortunate for him. So he did have the opportunity to attack last turn, but we see that he did just place the 40. This is going to be really rough for him. We see Carl go ahead and play the stadium that's going to allow him to do 10 more damage. And he's going to go ahead and take the knockout on that Regirock. Chris is going to attach a double colorless to his bench. Jolteon, he's really in a tough spot. Unfortunately, Chris just seems to not be getting into the resources that he needs. And he is just slowly running out of steam. See, Chris is just draw passing. He might have gotten a shame in there that he did, so he's going to at least be able to set up here. And looks like he's going to have some options here for him. Unfortunately, though, his poor Jolteon EX has already got 120 damage on it, and he has 3 bench Pokemon, which is going to allow Carl to be able to come in with his Zoroark for an easy KO. So Chris can definitely not leave that Jolteon active. One thing though that Chris does have going for him is Carl does not have energy attached. And he knows Chris has just ran out of steam and Carl is going to be able to spread that damage to the 60 on the bench. Chris had no way to get that Jolteon up, so we see Carl Shu taking game 2. He's going to advance on as 2-0-0. Chris will be 1-1-0. We'll be back with round 3. That was a quick game, so we will see you guys in about half an hour for game 3.